All right, cool. Flatline MMA, episode number 7. I'm Dom. That's Kev. Special guest today, our boy Zach, huge MMA guy. So pumped about this. Great show for you guys. So let's just get right into it. This show is brought to you by CBD Medic, all natural ingredients, advanced relief, topical pain relief for active sport, back and neck, foot, muscle and joint, arthritis, and massage oil. Click on the link down below. Use the code FLATLINE10 for 10% off your next order. So we're going to be pushing that a lot. CBD Medic. And, Gronk uses it. So if he's using it, you better use it. Go buy some. Cool. Like I said, packed show for you today. We're going to kind of review the UFC Moscow card, the co-main event, Greg Hardy, Alexander Volkov. We had the crazy main event with Zabit Magoshapirov, whatever. I don't even know how to say his last name. Shapirov, whatever. And then we're going to preview. Yeah, whatever. Pav, I don't care. And then we're going to preview this week's card. Not the greatest card in the world, but UFC Brazil with the main event. We have Jacare Souza versus Jan Blachowicz, however you say his last name too. So that should be a fun one. And then we had the crazy Nick Diaz interview. I know everyone saw that on the Ariel Helwani show. We'll get into that. We have our opinions on that one. And then we just had, right before this, we had a couple big fight announcements that we wanted to talk to that just came up. So we got a couple fun ones coming up in 2020. So screw it. Let's just get right into this. UFC Moscow, guys. We had the co-main event between Greg Hardy, Alexander Volkov. Obviously, this was a huge step up for Greg Hardy. He's coming in there on short notice after he just fought at UFC Boston. He didn't get the win, obviously. I think a lot of people respect that he didn't get knocked out, but kind of just wanted to, get your guys' opinion on what you thought of Hardy in the fight. And, I know a lot of people hate him, but do you respect him now? What do you guys think?
Yeah, going into it, I thought he was going to gas out in that fight if he wasn't getting the knockout first round, but went all three, and he looked pretty good.
No inhaler this time.
Yeah, I know, right? But, I think he looked pretty good. He looked like he was going for the finish the entire fight. I mean, he wasn't winning the striking exchanges, but he was still putting the pressure on and coming forward. So, a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were looking at Volkov and wondering why. Like, they all expected him to get a finish, especially after, even that Lewis fight, he was piecing Derek Lewis up all the way until the last 15 seconds. So I think a lot of people thought he was gonna be a lot more one-sided. I definitely did. I thought that Volkov was, I know it was only 3 rounds, but I thought that Volkov was gonna get the finish, but Hardy proved me wrong.
Yeah, he hit him with some good head kicks too. And
right in the teeth on some of them.
Dude, he ate those head kicks. Like, good for him, because I don't think there's too many guys on the roster that can take a head kick from a heavyweight and just kind of keep coming forward. So yeah, I think respect to him. I think he gained, a couple new fans. It was definitely a huge step up in competition. And I think a lot of people wanted to see this, because every fight, he's knocking everyone out in the first round. He's being controversial, with the illegal strikes, the inhaler. There's been just so much controversy behind this guy. I think it was actually nice seeing him go in there. I wouldn't even say he got humbled, really. It was just more like, I think he realizes where he stands in that division now, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta work on my game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I think in his head he could knock out anyone in the world, and he was calling out Stipe and friggin' all these, top dogs. And I think now he understands he's got to go back to the drawing board and he's got to do some things differently. So, but yeah, I think he, in life, I don't respect the guy. In fighting, obviously, I respect anyone that's going to go in there and take a friggin' shin to the nose like that. So, respect him. I don't know what's next, to be honest. I put it out on our Twitter. A lot of people said this, which I thought was an interesting matchup. What about Tai Tuivasa? I think that'd be a great next fight for him.
Yeah.
That Tuivasa's not going to try and take him down.
Exactly. They're going to stand and bang. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, that one's probably going to end with a knockout.
Yep.
With them two trading.
Yeah. No, that was I put that on Twitter, and everyone was just hammering me with that. So that would be a fun one. So excited to see that. And then Volkov, obviously, he's going to get like another top 5 opponent. I think.
What was he ranked? Ranked 7 in the division?
He was 7. So it was really, he couldn't win in that situation. Like, the only thing he's going to get next is a top 5 opponent now. You know what I mean? If he lost that, he had everything to lose in that fight. That I think that's what made it so interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, I didn't realize how frigging monstrous Volkov is. 6'7".
Yeah, I know, he's huge.
I mean, that's a scary.
Like skinny too. Like that's how big he is. That he looks skinny at heavyweight.
Oh yeah, he's ridiculous. I mean, he was a champion in another organization. Then he came over here. He was just demolishing everyone. And then Derek Lewis kind of derailed that a little bit. But he's been impressive from what I've seen, dude. So
I agree.
Only big things for him. So heavyweight division, always exciting though. And then
the problem with heavyweight though is that it's so, compared to a lot of the other divisions, it's all either really old guys, or the young and up and comers. Like Volkov is one of the few actual heavyweights that's not one of the older people. Like you got Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos. I mean, for a while you even had Mark Hunt like in the top of the division, and we're all like almost 40. So it's nice to see like new blood actually doing well in that division, I guess.
Yeah, you got all the old guys. They transfer over to Bellator. We got the young blood coming up. So
yeah, they're fighting in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, the friggin' Grand Prix. Absolutely insane. So that'll be exciting to see what's next for those two guys. And then just coming up, the main event, which had all the buzz, that had, fight of the year written all over it. Our boy Calvin Kattar, Methuen, Mass, Boston Strong versus, basically the myth, which is Zabit, Mago, Medshapirov, whatever.
Oh, there you go. You got it right that time.
I think you got that right. That was good.
Do the syllables. Sound it out.
Syllables. I had to, do different things here. But, no, I mean, everyone wanted to see this fight. It was supposed to be in Boston. Zabit pulled out because he didn't want to get beheaded in Boston, so they had to move it to Moscow. But, obviously JDS was supposed to fight Volkov on this card, right? JDS had to pull out due to injury. Greg Hardy stepped in. They made Greg Hardy Volkov the co-main event. Calvin versus Zabit was the main. The issue there wasn't enough time to prepare for a 5-round fight, so they made it a 3-round fight. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think that's on Zabit's end. I think his team knows that he gasses. I think his team knew that if it went into deep waters, he would get knocked out. And I think from the fight, you guys can give me your opinions, but, he had an impressive performance, don't get me wrong, but I think if that went into the 4th round, I know if it went into the 4th round, Zabit's getting knocked out by Kattar. What do you guys think?
I mean, I wish it was a 5-round fight because that was probably the best fight on the card for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the whole thing with, like, the Boston, him saying that there wasn't enough time, like, he was supposed to fight a month before training. Actually, they were going to be the main event or co-main?
No, they were going
to. That would have been a 3-round fight still. Oh, okay. Still. Come on.
I mean,
but yeah.
I mean, you were texting through that, but it was like, I mean, listen, I get he's crafty, he's creative, he does his thing. Calvin's boxing so good, and I think it wore on him come that 3rd round, and I think Calvin dominated that 3rd round. I think Zabit.
Oh, he was taking over the fight.
Oh yeah. I got the stats up right now with the amount of strikes thrown. It was pretty even through the 1st and 2nd round. I think Zabit kind of edged them out in those two. But the only reason for that is that they include leg kicks as significant strikes. Mm-hmm. So he was throwing like 15 of those around, and he was just barely beating them with the strikes. But that last round, where is it? Kattar threw it, whatever it was. Kattar threw like 90 punches in that last round to Zabit's like 30.
It ended on the ground, and Kattar's just like throwing like these weird hooks off his back. It was really weird.
Yeah, I mean, personally, overall, obviously we're biased just because like we're from Boston. Kattar's our boy, right? But I think this was a big stage for him too. He was ranked number 11, right? So it's like, how is he going to look in this fight going up against, top-notch, a guy like Zabit who no one's been able to figure out? Dude, nothing but impressed with his boxing. I think it's so goddamn crisp. And I think with him, it's like, like a typical Boston guy, right? Like he did not complain that this didn't go 5. He didn't get on the mic and say anything stupid like, we got to run this back, whatever. He took it like a man. He said, hey, I ran out of time. Congrats to Zabit. And I mean, everyone, if you look on, our Twitter, Instagram, everyone said the same thing. If that went 5, that's a different outcome. You know what I mean? It sucks it wasn't. Good for Zabit. He did enough within that, those 3 rounds to win that. But really curious to see what you guys think. I know Zabit, he was calling for a title shot and all this stuff. Personally, I think he needs one more fight for the title. I think we all know what that fight needs to be. Book him versus Yair in 2020. Whoever wins that fights for the title. I don't know what you guys think. I don't think he's ready to go 5 rounds with Max Holloway right now.
Yeah, but he had a good performance, but the fact that the way he ran in that 3rd round, it doesn't make me feel like he's deserving of that title shot. He should have stayed, continued with his game plan and just traded with him. You can't run away. You can't take rounds off if you want to be a champion. And that's the big thing that I didn't like from him this fight. But yeah,
I mean, you can definitely take rounds off. You won't be the champion. There's been a bunch of them that like the coast. I mean, for a while, Aldo would take a round or 2 off, and then during his leading up to that McGregor fight. But I mean, ever since then, he's been on fire. But I think a lot of them will. It's not a bad strategy, he's taking a round off, but it doesn't look good. I agree. He definitely looked gassed, and I think that Holloway is gonna be in his face and put the pepper on him for 5 rounds all the way through. He's not gonna just stop. I mean, even in the Poirier fight, even after getting hurt and getting beat up in the first 2 rounds, the whole fight he was still, in his face. So
yeah,
I think the fight with what was the one you said, Dom, against Yair, right? That's gonna be a good fight.
So bad. I mean,
I would pick Zabit in that fight though.
I mean, dude, I feel the same way with Yair as Zabit. It's like I feel like he showed in that Stevens fight. Dude, he definitely got heart and stuff, but you could tell that he was gassing in that fight, right? And I think Yair and Zabit, they're so similar in style. They both do the crazy flips and shit and leg kicks or whatever. I just think that's a great fight. 2 young guys. Yair was so goddamn hyped up. Frankie Edgar humbled him in front of the whole world, right? Yeah. But Zabit's no one's been able to figure him out yet. So I don't think he's ready. Either of those 2 are ready for a title fight yet. Have them fight each other, and the winner fights, the new featherweight champion, whoever the hell that is. Because I know I don't want to overlook Volkanovski. You know what I mean? Just in case he wins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I know they have to fight in December, so winner gets the winner of Max and Volkanovski. So I think that would be fun. Hopefully the UFC, which I'm thinking they're going to go that way. I'm pretty sure they'll go that way. So.
Yeah.
And then just Kattar. I kind of put this out on Twitter too. I asked a lot of people, hey, what's next for Calvin Kattar? I got the same answer. Him versus Jeremy Stephens.
I was just going to say that.
And I love that. I think that's a fight. That's fight of the friggin' year. That ain't going to the ground. They're going to box the shit out of each other. Someone's getting knocked out in that fight. So I'm not even going to argue with that one. What do you guys think? You think that's a good fight?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a fun one to make. Both of them, both coming off a loss right now, so I think it makes sense for it too.
Yeah.
Where they are in the rankings, they got Stevens as number 9, Kattar as number 11. I think that's a good fight for them to make.
Yeah, and I think too, with Kattar, I think this fight only rose his stock, to be honest, because I think he showed how tough he is, and I think he showed how good his boxing is, how crispy he is, and just the way it takes balls to just leave your backyard, which you're supposed to fight in, to go to Russia to fight in front of a hostile crowd, and he did that within minutes of Dana White calling him. He was like, nope, let's do this. Not taking that 5-round fight. He didn't complain once. So I hope the UFC treats him good, gives him a nice payday, because he's a beast. He's always shown in every one of his fights. He comes to fight every time. He's a Boston guy. We love you, Calvin Kattar. You're coming on the show soon, my brother. Perfect. So kind of switching gears to this weekend, we have UFC Brazil. Hey, listen, not the most exciting card in the world, right? We got a couple big names. We got Charles Oliveira fighting. We got 55-year-old Shogun Rua fighting. We got a ton of talent on there, but I think all eyes are going to be on the main event. We have Jacare Souza, who is making his light heavyweight debut, facing Jan, Blachowicz, however you say his last name.
I think it's Blachowicz
tonight.
I think it's Blachowicz.
Blachowicz. So obviously, Jan coming off his knockout win over Rockhold, the violent, glass chin Rockhold, right? So I'm curious to see how Jacare will do in this new weight class. I think there was a stat I saw that he hasn't won 2 fights in a row since like 2016. Obviously, sometimes when people move up and move down, they find their new weight class. So we know what Jacare can do on the ground. He just knocked out friggin' Chris Weidman, right? So we know he's got those heavy hands. What do you guys think for this fight?
I'm just surprised they've been matching Jan up against all the middleweights that are coming up. He fought Thiago Santos, and then I think he got knocked out now, but then he fought Rockhold, and now he's fighting Jacare, all coming up from middleweight.
Yep.
I think I would probably pick Jan in this fight for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll be interesting because I don't know if we've really seen anybody take Jan to the ground. And I think that if anyone's going to have the resume to do that, I mean, Souza's not known for his takedowns, but I think that if he can just drag him down with the jiu-jitsu, I think it'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Jan's got that Polish power, bro. You know what I mean? So he's got those heavy hands, but like you said, I mean, Jacare has been, he's been in the UFC for a while now. He's fought, everyone. He's as good as it comes. So I don't know, Kev, what do you think?
I think I got Jacare in this one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it is going to end up on the ground, and he's got the advantage there. He's got all those crazy submissions in his past, and I think he's going to pull something up in this fight.
You think that he can get him down? I mean, Rockhold's bigger than Jacare. He couldn't get Blachowicz down. So hopefully we'll see. Yeah, Rockhold in that one clinch in the first round, he tried to take him down. He was trying to wrestle him, and then he gasped, and that was the end of the fight. So I don't know, but he's definitely larger than Souza.
Yeah, definitely. Especially now that he's coming up in weight. Yeah, I mean that is a good point. And I think if Jacare tries to stand and trade with him, I don't think it'd be too good for him there. So I think going into it, his game plan will be to get it to the ground one way or another. I don't think he's going to try to stand in front of because even in his Weidman fight, he looked like he was getting beat up in like the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then when he started putting his punches together, then he ended up knocking him out. But yeah, I don't think his strategy is going to be to stand and trade with him. I think he's going to try to get it to the ground some way, and if he's successful in doing it, I think he could submit him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, Jan might come in with the, good takedown defense, be expecting that, and turn into
Polish power.
Polish power, baby. I said it. Those guys are different. But, no, I agree. I think it's going to be – honestly, I think it's going to be a great main event. It's always, great or bad seeing a guy, move up in weight or move down. You don't know how, the weight cut or, the non-weight cut's going to affect someone, right? Obviously, we saw with Weidman a couple weeks ago in Boston. Maybe his chin is just gone and he just can't take a punch anymore. So we'll see with Jacare. Yeah. But, for this one, I'm going Polish power on this one, man. Screw it. I want to see it. I think he's he's one of the guys that I think if he wins this, he's entitled, contention, definitely. So I would love to see him, go up against the mighty John Jones, right?
I mean, it's crazy that he just – how long ago did Blachowicz fight Thiago Santos?
It was only a couple fights ago, man. And he got –
That was his fight. That was his fight before Rockhold. And it's crazy that he would already – I mean, 205 is kind of – in the top 10, there's not a lot of guys. So maybe it makes sense. Half the guys are middleweights coming up from –
Yeah. Well, that's why John Jones said he was bored. He wants to take a super fight at heavyweight or, do whatever. So And I think now you got guys like Dom Reyes, you had guys like Johnny Walker, obviously that got spoiled, but I think it's really, Dom Reyes, Corey Anderson right now. And then if Jan wins this, I think you got Jan, you know what I mean? Other than that, nothing, too appealing in that division. I think some guys have to prove themselves, a lot of young guys. So we'll see what happens there, but you got to love watching those bigger guys fight, light heavyweight, heavyweights, they got the power, they pack the punch there. So cool. And then just kind of going off of just random things that happened this week. Monday, we had the infamous, the legendary Nick Diaz go on the Ariel Helwani show. And this is how it went. Ready? This is Ariel. Hey, Nick, how you doing? Then Nick Diaz proceeds to talk about literally nothing for the next 45 minutes, and then the interview ended. But no, he didn't just talk about nothing. He talked about a ton of cool stuff. He talked about how he's pissed Jorge Masvidal wants to baptize Nate, how he wanted to baptize Nate. He was pissed about that. Maybe we're setting up a fight for the future, but I know it was wacky. I know Nick Diaz, can barely talk, but he's a legend. He's the original BMF. What'd you guys think of the interview?
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place, but he did say a few things where, I don't know, like it sounded like he wants to come back when he started talking about Masvidal, and then he was saying other things about opening up gyms in Texas and Los Angeles and stuff, and then he's saying that he hates fighting, but he just got into a fight. He was showing a bite mark bruise on his forearm.
That part was great. Helwani asked him, "Who bit you?" He's like, nobody.
Yeah, he's out of his mind. So I put this on my Twitter, right? I know he called out Jorge and stuff. Would you guys actually be interested in seeing that fight? To be honest with me.
Definitely.
Is Diaz in fighting shape though? I mean, it's been a long time.
So what I know from the Diaz's and what Nate has said, they're constantly in the gym. They never take time off. They're doing their triathlons. These guys, it might not look like a best in shape body we look like Greek gods. You know what I mean? But I think these guys are just in shape and they have gas tanks for days. As you saw in the Jorge fight, Nate was getting beat up, but he didn't even look like he was taking deep breaths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I put it on my Twitter and I got a lot of mixed emotions. It was no, I think, Nick will get his ass beat because he hasn't fought in friggin' 10 years. And then I got a lot of hell yes. I think Nick could give Jorge the hands, which is crazy. But yeah, I think overall, I think that'd be an exciting fight. The lead up would be ridiculous. You know what I mean? But question for you guys, do you think that this kind of makes Nate, his big brother kind of, coming to save the day? Do you think that kind of takes away from his gangster mentality, kind of his persona, or what do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he was calling him his baby brother and stuff. It seems just sending him to save the day. But no, I think it just adds to the story that now, Masvidal's got this win over Nate. Now Nick's coming into the picture, and I think it'd make it for possibly even bigger fight than the Nate versus Masvidal fight. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Zach, what do you think?
I mean, even in the interview, which was hard to follow, by the way, Nick said that Nate asked him to fight him at some point. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I saw that a little bit.
In the interview that he said that?
Yeah, no.
He mentioned something Nate asked him to fight Masvidal, which is, I don't know. So I think from one standpoint, it's oh yeah, now my big brother's going to fight you. But he asked him. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's hard to follow the interview, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Who would you guys pick in that fight, though? I would probably pick Masvidal for sure.
For Nick and Jorge?
Yeah, I would definitely go with Jorge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with Jorge. He's got the hot hand right now. He's knocking out everyone. Obviously, Nate and Nick are almost impossible to knock out, and Jorge had him, I thought pretty close. You know what I mean? As close as you're going to get with the Diaz brother.
Yeah, Jorge's been active. He's been fighting. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really been taking any time off except for, he had that year off last year, but he fought 3 times this year.
Yep.
And he's looked good in every single performance. And Nick hasn't fought in 5 years, and you don't know what his training's like. I'm assuming it's probably pretty good. He's probably working with Nate all the time. He's probably still right there, ready to fight. But you never know until they step into the cage.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes of that. I mean, obviously, the UFC loves building stories that builds pay-per-view buys. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Jorge deserves a title shot, but who wouldn't want to see him fight another Diaz brother, defend that BMF belt against Nate's brother? Like, that would be insane. You know what I mean?
Are they going to actually do title defenses on that belt?
I don't think so, but the belt's cool. The Rock said he's coming to every one of Jorge's fights now. So, I mean, that's cool if he just, walks him out every time now. Friggin' Rock wearing his medium shirt. His friggin' nips just, hard as shit. Literally, it was hilarious. I love The Rock. Nate's calling him out after saying he'll beat him up, too, which is hilarious. So, it was just funny. The whole thing was great. Obviously, we loved watching that fight. That's another one where I wish there was, 2 more rounds, but we talked about that.
Yeah, we got kind of robbed of that one, huh?
Yeah, we talked a little bit that on our last one, but cool. We'll see what comes of that. Nick's a crazy bastard. He's
actually one more point. You guys catch some of his, he'll ramble a lot, but then he'll come out these ridiculous one-liners, like the pawns are always the first to go in chess. Like he'll repeat them, and it's so out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
a character, man.
Yeah, he's
him and Nate, they're just so alike. It's crazy. They're like the same human being. You know what I mean? Nick's just taking, I think, a couple more punches to the head.
I think Nate's easier to understand than Nick now. After that interview, I mean, it was pretty close, but after that interview, I definitely think that Nate is more coherent. Maybe it's just the format, but
yeah, maybe.
I love how he's making fun of Ariel too. During the interview, making fun of his collared shirts.
Talking about the piece of shit chair or something in the middle of the interview, standing up, shaking it.
Oh yeah, Ariel gets so much shit. I know they had not beef in the day, but you've probably seen some of the Nick Diaz, Ariel Helwani moments.
Yeah.
Where Ariel just tries to instigate shit and Nick Diaz just calls him out right away. And he's like, where I come from, people say that get slapped.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ariel's kind of just oh shit. So no, but super excited to see what comes of that. Obviously Jorge's, ceiling right now is unlimited. The guy's probably one of the biggest stars in the UFC behind Khabib. I said that on the last podcast, but so we'll see what happens. Love to see that. And then just kind of ending things off here. We had some news, a big fight coming up in 2020. We got Frankie Edgar making his bantamweight debut versus the rising star Corey Sandhagen. I think that's an awesome fight. We'll see what Frankie looks like at 135 because he's a killer. But Corey Sandhagen's been on a tear right now. I know he's looked good in his last 3 or 4 fights. So excited to see what he can do and see if Frankie can spoil the party for Sandhagen. And then I think what do we have? I think we had one more big fight announced. Let me just see real quick.
Did you hear about Rockhold? He's going to be in a grappling match. Did you guys see that? Yeah, so
he got a little bit.
I think it's good for him. I mean, he's won some championships before he was a black belt. So I mean, that'll be cool to see how he does because he's really touted in the UFC with his grappling, and hopefully we'll see in Polaris how he does.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's dude. I mean, overall, I always thought he was. When he beat Weidman, he looked so good everywhere. His striking was good on the ground. He was good. He just, dude, you just lose your chin, man. I think it only takes one fight to lose your chin, and that's just what happened to him. So whatever he does next, I hope he doesn't fight again. I don't want to see him get knocked out. He just looks awful, every time he steps in the ring now.
Dom had this idea of putting Weidman versus Rockhold again.
Just do it again. Just do it again. I mean, it could be we could have the first double knockout, dude.
Yeah. If they are planning on fighting again, I think that one would make sense. Just because they're both at the same point in their careers.
And do it at 205 too. You don't have to cut weight. Don't do shit. Do it at 205 and just whoever dies in there dies. That's all I'm saying. Glass chins for days, whatever. And then the fight that I was talking about, I actually posted on our story. I completely forgot. JDS versus Curtis Blades on UFC Raleigh in January 25th, 2020. That's going to be a hell of a fight. Love Curtis Blades, love JDS, both savages. So Cool. Well, that's all we had for today, right? I don't know if you guys have any last thoughts here, but a ton of great news. This UFC Brazil card is going to be, not the most exciting, but I think the main event's going to be fire. And then after that, we have 3 weeks without UFC. So we'll be keeping you updated with any Bellator One Championship news you guys want to hear. Still going to be pushing out content, blog posts. We're still going to be putting up videos weekly. So if you haven't subscribed, again, the show's brought to you CBD Medic. If you need stuff, click the link below. Promo code Flatline10. Gronk uses it. You use it. Ready? Until next time, Flatline MMA. Peace.